All right. Hello. Will that do? Yes, it will. Hello. Welcome back. Good morning. Good afternoon. Whenever you're watching this. Hello. Today is Monday, June 29th. Really coming close to the end of June. Last week, we listened to a whole bunch of Berenstain Bears books. And each one was better than the last. This week, thought I'd do exactly the same thing. Not read the same stories. That would be very boring. I'm going to read different stories. Different Berenstain Bears stories, that is. Monday, today, I'm going to be reading, this one was a really particular special one when I was a kid because I had a very messy room and I would hate to clean up my room. And so today's Berenstain Bears book is called The Berenstain Bears and the Messy Room. Then tomorrow I'll read Berenstain Bears and the Truth. Then the Berenstain Bears and the In Crowd. Sister Bear tries to fit in. Berenstain Bears Trouble with Money. Everybody's got trouble with money, including brother and sister. And the Berenstain Bears on Friday. And Too Much Junk Food. That talks about health, ways to stay healthy. But first, Monday, this brings back strong memories for me. And I remember that I had this special pair of scissors. This must be another copy. When I had a book, not this particular book, but a copy of this book, Messy Room, I had this special pair of scissors. And whenever you cut, it would make like a zigzag pattern. Your parents probably know what that is, what those scissors are called. Anyway, I just cut that book up. And thankfully, this is not that copy. Berenstain Bears and the Messy Room. Here we go. When small bears forget to pick up, store, and stash, some of their favorite things end up in the trash. Mama Bear, as you can tell, she's got a big box there. The big box says trash. And she's saying, you better clean up or else. Berenstain Bears and the Messy Room. Ooh, this takes me back. From the outside, the Bears' tree house, which stood beside a sunny dirt road deep in bear country, looked very neat and well kept. The flower beds sparkled with red, yellow, and blue tulips. The woodwork was freshly painted and in good repair. The grass was cut and the vegetable patch was properly weeded. Even the bird's nest that perched on one of the treehouse branches was well trimmed. So from the outside, everything looks very neat and organized and very clean. The inside of the Bears' treehouse was neat and clean too. The pictures were straight, the piano was dusted, the kitchen was spick and span, so everything is nice. Even the basement was neat and clean, and if you think it's easy to keep a treehouse basement neat and clean, well, you've never tried it. I've never tried it. I did have a basement in Canada when I lived there. But I've never really had a treehouse basement. I don't think anyone's really had a treehouse basement before. Yes, the Bears' treehouse was a lesson in neatness and cleanliness, except for one place, Brother and Sister Bear's room. It was a mess. Now just take a look at this. Oh boy, they really mess up a room. And you can get a mess, but you got to clean it up. And they don't like to clean up things. A dust-catching, wall-to-wall, helter-skelter mess. Boy, oh boy. Ooh, they're messy. The door says, closet, open at your own risk. So you know they just shoved things in there and forgot about it. A half-done jigsaw puzzle gathered dust in one corner of the room. A group of brothers' dinosaur models collected cobwebs in another. Sisters' stuffed animals were everywhere. As for the cub's big storage closet, well, just be careful how you open it. And here's Mama Bear starting to open it, and she's fallen over with the stuff that just comes right at her. Oh boy. This was me. I was like these cubs. It wasn't that brother and sister were naturally messy. They tried to keep their room straight. They made their beds most of the time, so sometimes they weren't made. And they swept and picked up once in a while. You can already see Mama Bear's face. She's getting a little upset with the kids. The trouble was that when cleanup time came, they spent more time arguing than cleaning. And if you recall from another book, they do get in a fight sometimes. How am I supposed to sweep with your dumb dinosaur toys all over the floor, argued Sister. They're not toys, they're models. And don't move them. I'm working on a setup of the Pleistocene age. I cannot believe I said that correctly. I hope I said that correctly. Brother protested. Pleistocene, schmeistocene, shouted Sister. Not only was Brother and Sister's room a mess, but Brother and Sister were getting to be a mess also, too. Always arguing about cleanup chores instead of sharing the job and working as a team. So instead of working as a team and sharing the jobs, they just fight over it and say, how can I do this if your stuff is all over the place? How can I do this? Stuff is all over. What usually happened was that while the cubs argued about whose turn it was to do what, Mama took the broom and did the sweeping herself. That's what she usually did. And she often did the picking up too. This was the worst part, the picking up. Oh, I remember when I saw this picture, I felt bad for my mom because she'd probably just end up cleaning all up herself. And the putting away. So Mama's really taking care of this room. But that's not right, Mama. They need to learn some responsibility. Well, the mess just seemed to build up and build up and build up until one day. Maybe it was because Mama's back was a little stiff, or maybe it was her stepping on Brother's airplane cement. Oh, she got her feet glued to the floor there. Or maybe she was just fed up with the messy room. But whatever it is, Mama Bear lost her temper. She stormed into the cub's room with a big box. And look at her face. She is like, I've had enough. This is enough. I'm done. I am done. I'm done. That's what she said. The first thing we have to do is get rid of all this junk, she said. Junk, said Brother and Sister, watching in horror as Mama began to throw things into the box. My teddy isn't junk, screamed Sister. My bird's nest collection isn't junk, yelled Brother at the top of his lungs. See, Mama Bear's lesson here is, if it's not junk, then put it away. Put it away when you're not using it. Take care of the things that are not junk. The screaming and yelling got so loud that it reached Papa, who was in his workshop putting the finishing touches on a batch of chairs that had been ordered by one of his customers. He couldn't imagine what was wrong. He hurried up the stairs and looked into the messy, noisy room. It didn't take a deep thinker to figure out what was going on. Oh, Papa Bear knows Mama's had enough, and he better not get in her way. She's going to throw him in the box next. Papa got Mama's and the cubs' attention and called a family meeting right there and then. Want to know how he got their attention? This says, quiet! Oh, he's a little upset himself. Now, the mess has really built up in this room, he said. In fact, it's the worst case of messy buildup I've ever seen. And it isn't fair, he continued. It isn't fair to your mama and me because we have a lot of other things to take care of. And it isn't fair to you because you really can't have fun or relax in a room that's such a terrible mess. Mama's still fuming. She's still really mad. Papa's sitting him down and saying, listen, we got to have a talk here. Let's figure this out because this is not going to work. But Mama is putting all my things into that box. Even my teddy, said Sister. And my things too, cried Brother. Then Papa got an idea. A box. Yes. If he had a beard, he'd be doing this. A box. Yes, he said. Better yet, a lot of different kinds of boxes. A big toy box for your large toys. I can make one for you in my shop. And some smaller boxes for your collections and models. And how about one of those boards with holes and pegs to hang things on, asked Sister. A pegboard, said Papa. Great idea. All this room needs is a little organization. So they're figuring things out. Mama's still mad. A little organization and a few rules, added Mama. Rules are about more sweeping and less arguing and not leaving things to gather dust and cobwebs. All right, so at least they have a plan now. Maybe the plan will work. Papa set to work making a fine toy box and a large pegboard. Good thing he's a handyman. He can do lots of these things here. While the cubs and Mama Mama's smiling. She's getting on board. While the cubs and Mama sorted out the toys, books, and games and puzzles and put them into boxes that fit neatly into the closet. Every box was clearly labeled. And I'm still a pretty disorganized person, but I'm sure after I read this book, I started to label things. I don't know how long it lasted. Some of the Cubs things did end up in Mama's big throwaway box. Not Sister's Teddy, of course, but some of Brother's Bird's nest, the crumbling, falling apart ones. So some of the things that really needed to be thrown away, let's throw them away. It was a very big job cleaning up all that messy buildup, but after a lot of straightening up and putting away, the job was finally finished. Wow, said Brother, that was quite a job, but it was worth it. It looks like a whole new room, said Sister, and the Cubs were right. Look at that. If you recall what the room was like before, well, you just have to look at the front cover. Oh, man, stuff everywhere. But now everything is labeled. They have a place for everything and everything in its place. That's what people say. Here's the last page. And Papa had been right, too. It was so much more enjoyable to live in a nice and neat, clean, well-organized room and so much more relaxing. It wasn't as exciting to open the big storage closet now, but it was much more practical and a lot more fun. And look at all that. Our closet is filled with labeled boxes filled with their toys. And again, a place for everything and everything in its place. Everybody is happy with a neat room. That was the Berenstain Bears messy room. Tomorrow, Tuesday, June 30th, will be the Berenstain Bears and the truth. Always tell the truth. Always. Bye. See ya.